On this special day, 8th September 2025, we welcome you to a space dedicated to honouring the memories of those who've recently departed and others whose impact lives on forever. Together, we'll reflect on their journeys and also discuss the heartfelt struggles of WWE star Roman Reigns. Subscribe and stand with us in keeping their memories alive. Rocky Johnson, born on August 24, 1944, in Amherst, Nova Scotia, Canada, was a prominent professional wrestler and the father of the famous Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He began his wrestling career in the 1960s, initially competing in various territories across Canada and the United States. Known for his charismatic persona and athleticism, Rocky became a pioneer for African American wrestlers in a predominantly white industry. In the late 1970s, he gained national fame in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, where he teamed up with Tony Atlas to form one of the first successful African American tag teams. Together, they won the WWF World Tag Team Championship, making history and breaking barriers within the sport. Johnson's in-ring style was characterized by his agility and powerful moves, which captivated audiences and showcased his skills. Beyond his wrestling achievements, Rocky was influential in mentoring young talent and paving the way for future generations of wrestlers, including his son, Dwayne. He retired from professional wrestling in the 1990s, but remained active in the industry as a trainer and promoter. Rocky Johnson's legacy extends beyond his wrestling career. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2008, recognizing his contributions to the sport. He passed away at the age of 75, leaving behind a rich legacy in professional wrestling and a lasting impact on the lives of many aspiring wrestlers. Terry Funk, born Terrence Funk on June 30, 1944, in Hammond, Indiana, was a legendary professional wrestler who passed away at the age of 79. With a career spanning over 5 decades, Funk was celebrated as one of the most influential and versatile wrestlers in history. Known for his contributions to hardcore wrestling, his legacy remains unparalleled. Growing up in a wrestling family, Funk followed in the footsteps of his father, Dory Funk Sr., a prominent wrestler and promoter, and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., a fellow wrestling legend. Terry began his career in 1965 in his father's promotion, quickly gaining recognition for his toughness and technical skill. In 1975, he achieved the pinnacle of success by winning the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, defeating Jack Briscoe. His reign solidified his status as a top wrestler capable of excelling in technical matches, brawls, or high-flying contests. In the 1980s and 1990s, Funk became a pioneer of hardcore wrestling, gaining fame for wild and brutal matches involving weapons, fire, and extreme stunts. His work in promotions like All Japan Pro Wrestling, ECW, WCW, and WWF popularized the hardcore style worldwide. Iconic rivalries, including his feud with Ric Flair and his contributions to ECW, remain defining moments in wrestling history. Outside the ring, Funk's charisma and cowboy persona endeared him to fans. He also appeared in Hollywood films like Roadhouse and Over the Top, further cementing his cultural impact. Inducted into numerous wrestling halls of fame, including the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009, Funk's enduring passion and influence have left an indelible mark on professional wrestling. Bushwhacker Butch, born Robert Butch Miller on October 21, 1944, in Wellington, New Zealand, was a beloved professional wrestler best known as one half of the tag team The Bushwhackers, alongside his longtime partner Luke Williams. The duo, originally known as the Sheep Herders, gained international fame for their wild and entertaining style, becoming one of the most popular and enduring tag teams in wrestling history. Butch began his wrestling career in the 1960s, initially competing in New Zealand and Australia. He eventually teamed up with Luke Williams, and the two formed a tag team that would become legendary. Under the name the Sheepherders, Butch and Luke were known for their brutal, no-nonsense approach to wrestling, often engaging in violent, bloody brawls that made them notorious in various wrestling territories around the world. Their reputation as tough, hardcore wrestlers earned them a loyal following, particularly during their time in promotions such as the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, and various independent circuits. The Sheepherders were known for their savage tactics and ruthless demeanor, making them one of the most feared teams in the business. However, it was their transformation into the Bushwhackers when they joined the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now WWE, in the late 1980s that brought them global fame. The Bushwhackers were a complete departure from their previous personas, adopting a comedic, fan-friendly gimmick. With their distinctive entrance, marching to the ring while swinging their arms and licking the heads of fans and opponents alike, Butch and Luke became instant fan favourites. Their antics, coupled with their unique look, camouflage attire, bush hats and missing teeth, made them one of the most memorable and entertaining tag teams of the era. Though they never won the WWF Tag Team Championship, the Bushwhackers were consistently featured in major matches and storylines, and their popularity endured throughout their WWF tenure. Their ability to connect with audiences of all ages, particularly children, ensured their place as one of the most beloved tag teams in wrestling history. After leaving the WWF in the mid-1990s, Butch continued to wrestle sporadically, often reuniting with Luke for special appearances and matches. Despite his advancing age, Butch remained active in the wrestling community, making appearances at conventions and wrestling events, where he was always warmly received by fans. In 2015, the Bushwhackers were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, a testament to their impact on the wrestling world and their enduring popularity. Bushwhacker Butch passed away on April 2, 2023, at the age of 78. His death marked the end of a remarkable career that spanned over 5 decades. Butch's legacy as one half of the Bushwhackers lives on through the countless fans who remember him for his infectious energy, entertaining style, and the joy he brought to wrestling fans around the world. Melissa Coates, born on June 18, 1971, was a multifaceted athlete and entertainer, best known for her work in professional wrestling. Often recognized by her ring name, Thunder Kitty, she made significant strides in the wrestling industry, showcasing her unique blend of strength, agility, and charisma. Coates began her athletic career as a bodybuilder, winning several championships before transitioning to wrestling, where she became a notable figure in promotions such as World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, and various independent circuits. Throughout her wrestling career, Coates stood out not only for her physical prowess, but also for her dedication to promoting women in sports. She participated in a variety of wrestling styles, including hardcore wrestling, and was known for her engaging personality and ability to connect with fans. Her tenure in WWE saw her involved in storylines that highlighted her athletic abilities and charisma, gaining her a loyal following. Beyond her wrestling career, Coates was an advocate for mental health awareness, openly discussing her struggles and the importance of seeking help. Tragically, Melissa Coates passed away at the age of 50. Her unexpected death left a significant impact on the wrestling community, where she was remembered not only for her talent, but also for her vibrant spirit and positive influence on others. Coates' legacy continues to inspire aspiring wrestlers, particularly women in the industry, highlighting her commitment to breaking barriers and championing inclusivity in professional wrestling. Mr. Niebla, born on February 22, 1973, was a celebrated Mexican professional wrestler known for his vibrant persona and significant contributions to lucha libre. His real name was José Manuel Guillén, and he quickly became a prominent figure in the wrestling community. With a unique blend of high-flying acrobatics and charismatic performances, Mr. Niebla captured the hearts of fans worldwide. Debuting in the early 1990s, Mr. Niebla was renowned for his agility and innovative wrestling style, which allowed him to execute breathtaking moves that left audiences in awe. He often donned a distinctive mask, embodying the mystique and tradition of lucha libre, while also incorporating comedic elements into his acts, which endeared him to fans. Throughout his career, he wrestled for various promotions, including the famous CMLL, Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, where he became a staple of their roster. Tragically, Mr. Niebla passed away on December 23, 2019, leaving behind a legacy that profoundly influenced the world of wrestling. His untimely death at the age of 46 was a significant loss to the lucha libre community, and he is remembered not just for his athletic prowess, but also for his infectious spirit and dedication to the art of wrestling. His contributions continue to inspire aspiring wrestlers and entertain fans long after his departure. In a jaw-dropping turn of events at Clash in Paris 2025, the unthinkable happened. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, was not just beaten, he was demolished. In front of a stunned international crowd, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed joined forces in a brutal, no-holds-barred assault that left Reigns broken and speechless in the center of the ring. What started as a routine defense for Roman quickly spiraled into chaos as these two powerhouses made a statement no one saw coming. This wasn't just a match, it was a reckoning, and the reign of the bloodline may never be the same again. The Accor Arena itself seemed to shudder under the weight of the moment. Fans from every corner of the globe had packed the venue, their voices blending into a deafening roar that reflected the shock and exhilaration of the event. From the front rows to the upper tiers, thousands of eyes were locked on the ring, each fan grappling with disbelief and awe as they witnessed a scene that defied expectations. Paris, a city known for its history, culture, and dramatic moments, had become the crucible for one of wrestling's most unexpected and electrifying confrontations. Bron Breakker, legacy in motion. Bron Breakker stormed into the arena with a presence that demanded attention. From the moment his theme hit, the crowd erupted, not just for his sheer athleticism, but for the weight of his lineage. As the son of Rick Steiner, Breakker carried the legacy of a family whose impact on professional wrestling is monumental. But beyond the name, there was an intensity that made him undeniably his own. Every step he took, every glare at the audience, every flex of muscle spoke of determination, ambition, and the desire to prove that legacy alone was not enough. He had to earn his place. Breakker's in-ring style is a fascinating blend of explosive athleticism and razor-sharp precision. His suplexes crash with the force of intention, his positioning, his timing, and his anticipation of an opponent's reaction all reflect a wrestler who thinks several moves ahead. Yet there is an artistry to it, a storytelling component that makes every match feel like more than physical combat. When Breakker delivers a slam or a counter, it is a narrative in itself, a chapter in the story of ambition, legacy, and the hunger to rise. And then there is his charisma. Breakker doesn't need elaborate promos or exaggerated gestures. His intensity, the way his eyes scan the crowd, the subtle acknowledgement of cheers, and the raw energy in his movements communicate everything. Fans feel it instantly, a mix of respect, admiration, and anticipation. On this night, his presence was magnetic, almost tangible, as if the air itself was drawn toward him, charged by the promise of something extraordinary. Bronson Reed, the Australian Colossus. Then there was Bronson Reed, a figure whose very presence alters the rhythm of any match. Towering over 6.5 feet, his massive frame is intimidating, yet his movements reveal an unexpected agility and precision. There is a rhythm to Reed, a deliberate pacing that makes every strike, slam and lift appear effortless yet devastating. Fans watch in awe as someone so physically imposing moves with the grace of a smaller competitor, creating a dichotomy of strength and fluidity that is as unnerving as it is mesmerizing. Reed's journey to this stage adds another layer to his impact. Coming from Australia, he honed his craft in regional circuits and diverse wrestling territories, developing a unique blend of resilience, tactical awareness, and raw power. Unlike many who are thrust into global spotlight by fortune or connections, Reed earned his place the hard way, and it shows in the quiet confidence he exudes. His dominance is not just physical, it's cerebral. He calculates, anticipates, and strikes with precision that can dismantle even the most prepared opponent. Together, Breaker and Reed are more than a team. They are a storm, a fusion of legacy and raw force. Where Breaker brings fiery intensity and inherited ambition, Reed brings calculated power and overwhelming presence. Their alliance is deliberate, strategic, and devastating, designed to challenge even a meticulously calculated champion like Roman Reigns. Standing side by side in the center of the ring, they are an image of unstoppable momentum, a yin and yang of athletic dominance and raw physicality. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. And yet, across the ring stood Roman Reigns, the embodiment of control and dominance. The tribal chief is more than a champion. He is a master of psychology, using presence, posture, and timing to command attention and obedience alike. His reign has been built not only on raw skill, but on careful orchestration. Every feint, every reversal, every signature strike designed to assert authority and maintain supremacy. Reigns has long been the apex predator of the WWE, a figure whose opponents often underestimate the depth of his mastery until it is too late. What makes Reigns extraordinary is the blend of cerebral strategy and physical dominance. He manipulates the ring like a chessboard, controlling the narrative, the momentum, and even the audience's perception. Few challengers can match his ability to combine intimidation with technical precision. On this night, Reigns represented the established order, the empire, the hierarchy, the pinnacle of professional wrestling's carefully constructed dominance. But even the most formidable fortress is vulnerable when confronted with forces that combine raw power, cunning, and relentless ambition. The build-up, momentum meets storytelling. The weeks leading into Clash in Paris were a masterclass in anticipation and narrative tension. Breaker and Reed did not simply appear as challengers. Their partnership had been teased and explored through vignettes, promos, and staged encounters that hinted at a shared purpose and unstoppable drive. Breaker's fiery words conveyed the pressure and weight of legacy, while Reed's silent intensity spoke of devastation to come. Every glance, every handshake, every subtle display of coordination built suspense, keeping fans theorizing, debating, and holding their breath in anticipation of the inevitable confrontation. The storyline was compelling because it spoke to universal themes: the clash of the established versus the emerging, tradition versus innovation, control versus chaos. Reigns represented the calculated dominion of experience, authority, and psychological mastery, while Breaker and Reed symbolized ambition, physical dominance, and unyielding determination. The tension built like a storm, each promo and encounter adding another layer of complexity to the narrative, heightening stakes until the night of the match arrived. Paris comes alive. The Accor Arena pulsed with energy that went beyond the ordinary. The lighting, pyrotechnics, and visual spectacle framed the entrances, amplifying the anticipation into something almost tangible. Breaker's explosive entrance ignited the crowd, a firecracker of energy and intent. Reed followed with a slow, imposing walk that drew a hush across the audience, his sheer presence demanding awe and respect. Then Reigns emerged, regal and commanding, his gaze sweeping the arena with the authority of a king surveying his kingdom. The contrast between the three competitors, Breaker's intensity, Reed's calm force, Reigns' commanding dominance, set the stage for a clash of eras, personalities, and philosophies that felt almost mythic in scope. The match, chaos. Unleashed from the opening bell, chaos erupted. Breaker and Reed moved with unrelenting synergy, combining speed, power, and strategy to challenge Reigns' meticulous control. Each strike, each throw, each counter was amplified by the arena's collective energy. Reigns adapted, calculated, and fought back with the precision and authority that had defined his career. The ebb and flow of momentum created a story in motion, each near fall and reversal narrating a battle of wills as much as physical prowess. Fans were not passive observers. Their energy became part of the performance. Every gasp, cheer, and chant resonated through the wrestlers' movements, amplifying the drama unfolding in the ring. The spectacle was more than athletic. It was storytelling, a symphony of motion, emotion, and human ambition. A reckoning in the ring. As the match reached its climax, Breaker and Reed's combined assault overwhelmed even the formidable tribal chief. The arena trembled under the weight of their force, each blow, slam, and strike echoing through the hearts of the audience. Roman Reigns, once the unchallenged apex, found himself at the mercy of two relentless forces, and for the first time in years, the aura of invincibility cracked. By the end, Paris had witnessed more than a match. It had witnessed a reckoning. Legacy collided with power, strategy met brute force, and the very landscape of WWE dominance seemed to shift before the eyes of an international audience. Breaker and Reed left the ring not merely as victors, but as harbingers of a new era, a statement that the reign of the bloodline may never be the same again. In that moment, wrestling transcended sport. It became theatre, drama, and human storytelling on a scale that left an indelible mark on fans, the wrestlers themselves, and the history of the industry. Paris had not just hosted an event, it had borne witness to a turning point, a clash that would be remembered for generations. Entering the arena, the roar of the crowd. The arena was more than steel and concrete. It was a living, breathing entity, an organism fueled by the anticipation and energy of tens of thousands of fans. Every heartbeat in the crowd seemed to pulse in unison, a collective rhythm that surged through the stadium and reverberated in the chest of every person present. The lights dimmed, casting the vast venue into a momentary twilight, a pause so brief yet so charged that it felt as if time itself held its breath. It was a silence pregnant with expectation, a fragile stillness poised on the edge of chaos. Then, without warning, the opening notes of Breaker's theme shattered the quiet like a lightning strike, a sonic cannonball that ricocheted off the walls, through the balconies, and into the very veins of the audience. The sound was more than music. It was an announcement, a declaration that someone formidable had arrived, someone whose presence demanded recognition. Breaker stormed down the ramp with the intensity of a man possessed. Each step was deliberate, a calculated statement of power, control, and unyielding determination. His expression was feral, locked into a predator's focus, every muscle rippling under the harsh arena lights. There was an almost primal energy in his movements, an electric tension in the way he carried himself. Fans erupted in response, leaping to their feet, banners raised, voices roar with excitement. They screamed his name, hoping that their energy, their collective belief could somehow amplify his momentum, that their cheers might become an invisible force propelling him forward. The cameras captured every detail, the sweat glistening on his brow, the fiery determination in his eyes, the subtle flecks of his fingers ready to grip, strike, and dominate. Breaker wasn't just entering the arena, he was staking his claim on it, a man asserting that this stage, these lights, and this night belonged to him as much as it did to the audience watching in awe. Moments later, Bronson Reed emerged, a study in contrast yet equally commanding. Where Breaker radiated explosive, almost chaotic energy, Reed exuded quiet, immovable power. His entrance was slow, deliberate, each step resonating with inevitability, the kind of weight that made the very air seem thicker around him. It wasn't a rush of adrenaline he carried, but a forceful, quiet certainty, an aura that suggested chaos could erupt at any moment simply because he allowed it. The audience felt it instinctively. The atmosphere shifted, tension coiling in the rafters, a subtle hum of suspense vibrating through the crowd. Reed's presence alone seemed to warp the dynamics of the arena, a living force that demanded respect and attention even before a fist had been thrown. Then, the arena's attention turned, almost instinctively, toward the unmistakable presence of Roman Reigns. Unlike his opponents, Reigns' entrance was less spectacle and more authority personified. The pyrotechnics lit the air, yet their fire seemed to serve as a halo to his dominance, a visual punctuation to his command. His cape flowed behind him, a river of darkness broken by flashes of light, each movement deliberate, calculated, precise. The tribal chief's eyes swept over the crowd, absorbing their energy and projecting power simultaneously. When they finally landed on Breaker and Reed, the intensity of his gaze was predatory, the kind that communicated patience, control, and unshakable confidence. Reigns wasn't merely walking to the ring, he was asserting dominion. Every motion, every breath, every nuanced expression was a statement. Here stands a man in full command of his domain, unyielding, unbreakable, and entirely in control. The clash, raw power, meets unyielding strategy. The bell's clang marked the beginning of a contest that transcended simple competition. This was more than a display of physical might. It was a collision of philosophies, legacies, and human will. Breaker moved first, a storm of aggression and technique, blending raw power with a refined skill honed over years of grappling with expectation and personal ambition. Each strike carried weight, not just of muscle and training, but of history, identity, and a desire to forge a legacy separate from the name he bore. His hands and legs moved fluidly, almost poetically, yet beneath every maneuver lay a primal aggression, a barely contained force that suggested untapped potential waiting to erupt. Reigns, in contrast, responded with cold precision. He was the embodiment of strategy, his counters calculated, every shift of weight and angle deliberate. He did not merely block, he manipulated the narrative of the fight, bending the momentum to his will. Each movement was a lesson in psychology, a subtle choreography that forced his opponents to react, to overextend, to reveal vulnerabilities. The genius of Reigns lay not in his physical prowess alone, but in his understanding of the mind, the unspoken tension that could be leveraged to dominate not just bodies, but perception and expectation. Reed's presence added an entirely different dimension. His size alone was intimidating, an immovable wall of muscle and power, yet his movement was unexpectedly fluid, a seamless fusion of mass and agility that defied conventional anticipation. Where a swing from an average competitor might stagger a peer, Reed's execution was precise, intentional, devastating. The audience watched, entranced as the three titans collided, each strike and reversal weaving a story in real time, a narrative punctuated by skill, instinct, and raw emotion. Momentum shifts, a battle of endurance and will. As minutes stretched into what felt like hours, the pacing of the contest evolved organically. The fight transformed from a display of raw confrontation into a complex battle of endurance, strategy, and sheer willpower. The crowd's voices rose and fell like waves on a storm-tossed sea, the energy coiling and uncoiling in response to every maneuver. Signs waved high, chants formed rhythmic crescendos, LED boards flickered, reflecting the intensity in both the ring and the stands. Breaker and Reed moved with a synergy that bordered on instinctual coordinating attacks with silent precision, cutting off escape routes and forcing Reigns into a defensive posture that tested every ounce of his stamina. Yet Reigns remained unshakable. Each counter was surgical, each pause a carefully measured maneuver designed to provoke overcommitment. His offense was a choreography of intimidation and precision, a testament to mastery that extended beyond physicality into psychology and emotion. Every blow he absorbed, every slam endured, became an opportunity to manipulate the fight, to reassert control in ways that went unnoticed until the consequences struck. The audience felt this, subconsciously recognizing the depth of narrative unfolding in real time, a story told not only through action, but through the tension and release of momentum. Then came the moment that sent literal shivers through the arena. In perfect unison, Breaker and Reed executed a double-team maneuver that was as brutal as it was awe-inspiring. Breaker hoisted Reigns into the air with sheer raw force, muscles taut, every sinew visible under the arena lights, defying gravity itself. Reed followed with a thunderous slam that reverberated through the ring and into the seats of every spectator. The collective gasp, the roar, and the chants of disbelief reflected the audacity of the attack. The balance of dominance, the perception of invincibility associated with the tribal chief, had been challenged. History itself seemed to hang in the balance as the audience reacted in a wave of shock and exhilaration. Context and legacy, understanding the stakes. To fully appreciate the magnitude of this encounter, one must examine the journeys that brought these competitors to this moment. Breaker carries not only his own ambition, but the weight of a storied wrestling lineage. Every maneuver, every strike, every decision in the ring is imbued with the pressure of expectation, a conversation with history, and a declaration of self-worth. Wrestling is not merely a profession for him, it is inheritance, identity, and a proving ground. Each match, each confrontation is a statement, a measure of how his legacy will be remembered, distinct yet inseparable from the family name he carries. Reed's path differs entirely. His story is forged through resilience, adversity, and raw discipline. Where others rely on finesse or inherited prestige, Reed's approach is elemental, a synthesis of raw power and unyielding determination. His presence alone signals inevitability. He does not rush. He waits, analyzes, and executes with precision. His very entrance communicates a quiet threat, a promise that the consequences of underestimating him are immediate and absolute. Reigns represents a third philosophy altogether. His mastery extends beyond the physical into performance, psychology, and narrative control. He is a storyteller as much as a competitor, orchestrating every gesture, gaze, and pause to assert dominance. Against him, strength alone is insufficient. Opponents must contend not just with a man, but with a strategist, a performer, and an almost mythic figure whose presence commands attention and respect. The stakes are elevated not merely by the fight itself, but by the historical, emotional, and psychological weight each participant carries. The audience as witness, a living energy. No wrestling contest exists in isolation. It is a shared experience, a dialogue between performer and spectator, a co-created spectacle of energy and emotion. The crowd in Paris was not passive. They were participants in a living narrative. Every cheer, chant, gasp, and groan became fuel, shaping the flow and intensity of the match. Glow sticks swirled, banners waved, and LED displays reflected the electricity in the air. Cameras captured these reactions, immortalizing the collective heartbeat of tens of thousands, each person's anticipation, fear, and exhilaration contributing to the narrative unfolding in the ring. The emotional resonance of the audience cannot be overstated. When Breaker and Reed executed their double-team maneuver, the gasps and screams of disbelief echoed as an almost tangible presence, a shared understanding that something extraordinary had occurred. The moment transcended athletic contest, becoming a communal experience where the story of struggle, strategy, and resilience was told simultaneously by performers and witnesses alike. The aftermath, echoes of glory and chaos. As dust settled and the wrestlers regained their footing, the arena remained charged, a residue of tension and exhilaration lingering thick in the air. Fans, still on edge, understood they had witnessed a clash that would be remembered not merely for physical feats, but for the narrative, the drama, and the depth of emotion on display. Each slam, counter, and taunt contributed to a larger story about ambition, endurance, and the pursuit of dominance. This match was a microcosm of wrestling itself, a fusion of history, skill, psychology, and spectacle, with each participant contributing a unique philosophy and energy that transformed the ring into a crucible of human drama. The crowd's energy, the pyrotechnics, the tension, they all became extensions of the story, an immersive experience bridging performer and audience, reality and myth. The impact of this confrontation would linger far beyond the arena, whispered in conversations, celebrated in highlights, and dissected for years to come. Conclusion: triumph, tension, and the echo of legacy. As the final bell rang, the arena fell into a profound, reflective stillness. Breaker, Reed, and Reigns stood battered and drenched in sweat, living testaments to endurance, skill, and willpower. Each strike, counter, and perfectly timed maneuver had been more than athletic display. It had been a chapter in a story larger than any single performer. Wrestling, it became clear, is never just about victory or defeat. It is about legacy, the weight of history and ambition carried in every move, every gaze, every moment of triumph or near fall. Breaker's explosive energy, Reed's unstoppable force, and Reigns' calculated dominance collided in a spectacle that would resonate far beyond the arena walls. Fans departed with hearts pounding, having witnessed not a mere match, but a narrative of human struggle, resilience, and the pursuit of greatness. Legends are forged not in victory alone, but in battles that push every competitor to their limits. The echoes of this night would endure, a reminder that in wrestling, power alone is never enough. Strategy, psychology, and heart define the true champions. And as the lights dimmed and the roar of the crowd faded into memory, the story of this epic confrontation remained etched in the minds of all who bore witness.